guys, welcome back. So today I wanted to show you some new shears I've been working with. Let me get them out for you so we can show you. So these are from GEM Grooming. Now Tyler from Summit Sharpening sent me these for free to try out. He just wanted to know like my honest opinion on them. But these two I purchased with my own money. They're curved thinners and curved chunkers. They're both 7 inches. And they're the Japanese, or sorry, what is it, the 440 stainless steel. It's the same steel, I believe, as the Fresh shears. And then these were $95 each, whereas the Fresh, I think, are a solid $100 a piece, except for the swivel thumbs that I think are $105. So anyway, the Fresh and the GEM are super affordable. Tyler from Summit Sharpening explained to me the main difference between the Fresh and the GEM shears are what's actually on the inside. I think he said there's more, this is probably going to mess up because I'm not a shear person. I think he said like more bearings or something. Basically what's inside here is different because the steel in it, everything is actually the same. And the price is very similar. So these are the main, Fresh are the main shears that I use, but I have been trying out these GEM shears and I've been really happy with them so far. So I have a Yorkie Head here, which I thought would be a perfect example, especially for these new curved chunkers and thinners. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, I personally like to go in with my straights first because they're going to take the most at one time, and then we're going to go behind and texturize with the curves and the chunkers. Now, I already did all the clipper work that I would do on the head because I wanted the main video to be about the shears. So I shave in the eye corners, usually with a 15. Just like right here and right there, so it's nice and close so they don't have anything sticking in their eyes. And then I shave the ears, his ear tips, also with the 15, and his lips. That's like a big thing that now that I have, you guys haven't seen yet, but I got a new dog. He's a Shih Tzu. And anyway, I've been learning some new stuff now with having my own little dog. I kind of understand a little bit better, like, you know, what it's like after they eat out of the food bowl and water bowl and all that, like what to trim so that they stay as neat as possible. So anyway, I'm just going between the eyes here. I'm gonna grab these chunkers just to blend this out a little bit more. So basically the gist of what we're doing is we're gonna go in with the straights first, and then we go behind with our texturizing shears, the chunkers and the thinners, and blend it out so we don't have any harsh lines. Okay? Now with these, one thing Tyler made mention of is you have to make sure you're holding your shears properly with these, because if you stick your thumb too far through, these will bind up and they won't cut the way you want to, okay? So make sure you want to rest your shear like this in your hand and just stick the very tip of your finger into this thumb hole. You see? Otherwise your shears can bind up on you, especially with them being curved like this. Alright, so we did between the eyes. Now I always do visor. And like I said, we're just going to go in with the straight shears first to take that length off. This is just going to be less strain on your hands. You could definitely do this with thinners or chunkers, but the thing is you're going to have to do a lot more snips. So it's easier on your hands if you go in with your straights first and then go behind and texturize and get rid of any harsh lines. It's just going to save you a lot of time, first of all, and second of all, it's going to be less work on your hands, less snips. We really need to be aware of our ergonomics because that is what's going to lengthen our career. Okay, so just brushing all this forward, making sure nothing falls over his eyes. Okay, so now that I have the visor how I want, he's pretty good about holding his head up, but if he wasn't, then I may put him on the lead for this, because a lot of dogs like to hang their head. So I'm going to try to do this without blocking you guys. I'm just going to kind of brush everything. Actually, let's switch sides. It'll be easier because I'm going to work on this left side first. Okay, so I'm going to brush everything back. I'm just going to turn his face a little bit. There you go. Everything behind the ear. There you go. I'm just going to kind of put my arm in front of his face. There we go. Just so he knows to look the right direction that I need him to look in. So we're just going to trim that all the way up into the ear. And then I like to comb it all again. And all this stuff that falls down, you can just cut right off. And I hold the ear, but I kind of let it fall naturally a little bit too, because if you hold it up too tight, you see how all this hair moves with it? You don't want that. You want it to lay as natural as possible. But you do want to hold the ear out of your way so they don't like flick it into what you're doing and you accidentally nick their ear. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so you guys kind of get the gist of how a Yorkie head should look. So basically I go out on the perimeter first to get the general shape how I want it. I like to start with the ear and work up towards the mouth. Okay, and then we'll switch sides again. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. Watch out, Hammer. Hammer's still learning, y'all. Like, bless his heart, he's so sweet, but he's so clueless. So he's still learning not to get under people's feet and stuff. So same thing, I'm just gently holding his ear out of my way, but being aware of not to like pull this whole section up. Because it'll make it look like when it's blended when it actually is not all the way blended yet. Then you'll put it back down and be like, what the heck, I still have all this hair to cut. I'm just gonna brush it all back too. Hold this ear forward so I can get behind his head. Alright. Now, what I like to do to match everything, I'm going to hold his head up like this and comb all this down. And then we're going to match this side to this side. So that way we kind of have a guide before we start going in to trim the mustache and beard. Chop this all off. You can go both ways, like do like one angle and then flip your shear the other way and go the other angle. That'll just help you make sure you really get all the hair. Nice and short under this chin. Okay. Now I just want to check this and make sure that's all good. So I'm just going to brush everything straight down. There you go. He's like, what are we doing? Same thing over here. Hold their mouth closed if they're like the ones that lick a lot. Make sure that you're holding their mouth closed. I always do too for this part. I like to comb all this forward, and then these little points in the front you want to take off. So I'll hold his mouth shut. Take that off, take this side off. All this like wet stuff around their mouth, go ahead and trim that off too. Because that's just going to keep getting wet in the water bowl. That's like one thing I really learned having my own small dog with long hair. These areas, if they're wet for grooming, they just get wetter. So really like to be aware to get all that off. Okay, so once the general shape is taken care of, while it's all like brushed down, then I like to start brushing out, like so. Go in. Like I said, we're just taking straights first to take off most of this bulk. He is normally on an 8-week schedule, and they couldn't do their last appointment. Like, I don't know if they're out of town or what, but they had to reschedule. So he's a little bit longer than he normally is. So that's why I'm really not going in with like thinners or chunkers right now. It would just take me way longer. It'd be more stress on him, more stress on me. There we go. Just blending this up into that ear. Alright, now I like to kind of step back and look at it, make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, do the top of the head real quick. Now I do this like kind of like my old hair school technique for Yorkie heads. So you're going to pull this up, And this point here, make sure you're watching your ear. Trim that. Same thing, pull this up over here. You see this point in the middle? We got short, short. Blend those two shorts together, okay? There you go. That kind of, oops, sorry y'all. That kind of, oops, sorry. Now I stick my hand in your mouth. Say, damn lady. And I'm gonna do the same thing over here. Looking for that point, blending the short to the short. Like I said, that's a cosmetology technique. The only groomer I've really seen do that is Jonathan David. But it does work, especially with these Yorkies. Because their hair is so thin. And then if you want to check behind yourself, you can kind of like brush back and grab the hair. And this is where you can take like your thinners to like texturize. Like once you have the general length how you want it. Push this forward. Anywhere you see a little point, just go in and kind of texturize that out. See how this is kind of a point? Now, an important thing to note when you are cutting like this, you want to cut to the second knuckle. If you try to do all the way across, you're going to get your own finger. You're going to leave a nice little V in it. Trust me, any hairstylist knows what I'm talking about. Groomers don't do a lot of technique like that where they grab and comb like that, so we don't encounter that as often. So I would say groomers are probably way more likely to accidentally cut their own finger. So I don't like how this is laying, so just going in with my thinners. You can see these shears are really nice, like they cut really smooth. That's one thing I really like about them. They don't ever bend the hair. Whereas I've had pretty much every shear company I've used has bent the hair at least sometimes. I'm not gonna lie, I'm pretty excited about these. I've been wanting a pair of curved chunkers or thinners for a while now. I like my curved stuff. I've been using that new Bowie comb too. I don't know if you guys have seen this comb, but I've been liking it too. It gets like really good, just while we're on the topic. Like you see, like you can go up in armpits really good and just like weird spots around the body. I really like this comb for that. Okay, so we pretty much have the my right, his left, right? Yeah. So we're just gonna go and blend this side, make it as even as possible. Like I said, just taking the length first. And we'll go behind and texturize. And one thing too I've learned, that like when you do these like lips, get the bottom lip too, because I was only shaving the top lip, and then like when Hammer would go to drink water, he would get a ton of water stuck in his bottom lip. So I want a little bit more hair taken out at a time, but I don't want to use my straight, so that's when I'm going to go in with my chunkers. The thinners are just gonna like be better for like actual texturizing. The chunkers they can handle taking a little bit more bulk. I'm just doing that because if I used my thinners to blend over here, we'd be here a lot longer. And that's part of what we need to do. There's groomer shortage in the world. We're all trying to groom them all, so grooming them as fast as we can is definitely key. Like I said, he's taking me a little bit longer today because he's a little bit more overgrown than usual. I'll pull this ear out of my way. Still like a good chunk of hair there, so I'm going to go back in with my straights. You really, like, I think a thing that a lot of groomers kind of get confused on is like they'll use like thinners or chunkers to do that whole spot. It's going to take you 10 times as long when you can just take the length with your straights or curves and then go behind with your chunk curves or thinners to texturize. It's going to give you the same effect, it's just going to be a lot faster. So I'm just checking my work now. Sorry, pickles. I had a little cold. I caught it not this past Sunday, but the Sunday before, and I still have like a little cough left over from it. So it is what it is. At least I'm feeling normal again, y'all. I was like out for like a day or two. Alright, so that looks pretty good to me. I'm just gonna brush it a little bit and just kind of make sure everything's laying nicely. Just go in with the thinners again. Alright, you guys, that's really it. Just push this, make sure that all looks good. And that's our little Yorkie head using our new GEM shears. So yeah, I mean, everything I've gotten from them thus far I've been really happy with, but I will keep letting you guys know. But if you want some really decent, affordable shears, check out these new GEM shears. Alright, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!